not getting in all that coding garbage collection jargon action that everyone loves.
I'm already lost, so I'm not even going to contribute.
That's okay. I'll just bore you to death with my field. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. Been a week.
Sorry I'm late.
2 weeks. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Isles, or to be precise, our friendly party of Justicars, I suppose might be the way to say it, I suppose. Adventurers are now going to be a party of adventurers who are going to visit the nearby lands of Calabria, particularly the city of Triskelion, for some sleuthing and investigating and probably slaying of bad guys. If the bad guys are stupid enough to actually fight them, which we have a long history of saying, hey, we're going to fight this. Oh, shit, here's Harmon.
Look out, Harmon's there.
As it should be. So, unless they actually bring like an entire brigade of fusils, in which case, still Harmon, but, they actually get to shoot somebody for a change. So, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Isles here at Roll20. Of course, as we always I want to do, we start with everybody's goals and their goals. So let's start with our favorite Panther person. Robert, introduce your character, or reintroduce your character, and what's their goal and motivations?
I didn't realize I actually had favorites. Wow.
You're the only one, so I guess.
Man, I guess by default, I'm the favorite.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm playing Duncan, who is a Panther burglar. My motto is charity begins at home. And the current goals we have at the moment are stop Luke, L-U-C. And the ones I have written here, at least, stop Luke, and then go to Calabria to retrieve tablets, which I think we need more clarification on, because I actually probably don't know what that is in-game yet, specifically.
We will review that and to catch everybody up on what exactly does that mean in just a moment. Mr. Rafferty.
Hello, yes. I am playing, I'm Norman Rafferty, I'm playing Father Vesper, a raccoon almoner whose motto is keep your faith alight, but keep your powder dry. And I also have the same goals, because I'm with everyone else.
Then we have Griffin, the ever-elusive Lion Gregory.
That's right, I'm playing Gregory Varkin III, Lion Elementalist, who is vain and a noble. My motto is that I'm fit to be the king, and my goals are, of course, to stop Luke and his conspiracy, and to go to Calabria and retrieve the tablets.
Then we have Arkloyd.
Hello, I am Arkloyd. I'm playing Spencer McDougall, the calculating raccoon cognoscenti / thaumaturge, and my goals are to retrieve the tablets and to stop Luke.
And finally, last but certainly not least, we have our favorite donkey soldier, played by Theta.
Well, I'm actually a donkey soldier / marine, but yeah, I am Harmon. My personality is stoic. My motto is you need to know that you're in for the fight of your life.
Actually, correction. Mule.
Yep.
Not donkey.
Well, donkey is the race listed in the book. I'm just reflavoring it for a mule.
So there's that. I guess your mother was a donkey and your father was a whore.
Did you just call my father a whore? You son of a bitch. Where you live? I'll go find you.
A horse is a horse, of course. So, recap, because we didn't do this last week due to most things, including my computer saying, screw you. We were setting up to Calabria because they got information in a certain set of tablets, historical tablets that were stolen hundreds of years ago from the Isles, and apparently ended up in Calabria, maybe in the establishment of the current line of succession of kings, of high kings. In that kerfuffle, they somehow ended up in Calabria, and apparently, with the information that the party is able to glean, these tablets describe or are connected to the events, I mean, more ancient events of the creation of the modern isle by virtue of the sinking of the center uh, uh, of the of the old isle, just the one, and created the modern archipelago. Uh, they're also talking about stopping Luke. Luke happens to be the identity that was revealed of the cognoscenti, who has been causing a lot of problems, and apparently is at the center of conspiracy to, reform the Isle. Which, if anybody knows anything about plate tectonics and water and all that, that would be bad. I mean, it is, low fantasy, but still, racing an entire body of land, like precipitously, it would be bad.
I've played enough City Skyline to know where this is going.
Yeah, because water displacement and all those things.
Of course,
we're adhering to a degree here. Would not be good. Also, what eruptions, earthquakes, and cats and dogs who are already living together, but we now throw massive hysteria. So
we could use a scenic volcano though; it'll be fine.
Yeah, some lava too, just for the hell. So we begin with the sort of final debriefing still in the Isles before you depart with the paladin, high paladin of the Church of Semer, who actually gave you all this information. You see who she is? Paladin Joan Fortier, with her companion's brother Garçon and mage Laval. She informs you that while there might be some contacts that you can make in Calabria to help you out, especially through the Church of Somer, the idea is to maintain not necessarily a low profile, but an independent one. The idea is that you are clearly foreigners and should depart. That you're not connected to any of the houses, major or minor, in the city or in Calabria, and outside from Brother Vesper, just being a member of the church, which, the Church of Samir being so dominant in both the city and throughout Calabria, but not exclusively. There are other religions and other faiths, would just be one of thousands of members of the church. And it's not unusual for members of the church in other parts of Calabria or the Isles to visit what essentially is in pilgrimage, the heart of the religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And go on pilgrimage. So that is not something unusual and would be an easy cover story for them. Also, the fact that Gregory is a noble. Again, many of the incoming nobles that are, coming on the new economy of the Isles want to make contacts with the merchant princes and guilds of Triskelion and also Calabria as well. New money, chases and finds itself to other new money. So that is a win-win. Do you know what Triskelion is? Is it only a critical city in Calabria, but also it's a major port where it's been described in the book, especially you can find almost anything from Calabria you can find there at or even cheaper prices that you can find them in the original places. So it is, if you want to set up a business, business opportunity with Calabrian interest, better to go where the money is. So that is another part of the cover story that's being offered to you. She says that she will continue to work here. She will liaison with the magistrates here, etc., as best as possible. Although she will maintain her own independence, because she hints that maybe if this is a conspiracy, that the agents, whether they are willful participants or being magically manipulated, could easily tip her hand. And also, you put out feelers. I remember you put feelers with the Society of Plenty to see what they can find, and they'll tell you that, of course, they'll how much exactly did you tell? Now we're talking with Robert, with our Panther friend. How much did you tell them, Duncan, about what they were looking for? That's very important.
All right. I probably would have said we're looking. I would probably describe like features of what the wolf looks like. I would also describe the fact that the name. Yeah, I would give the name because that was one of the points that we would talk about. So I would describe the features he would look like, as well as the name, and the fact that he has basically been up to no good, and all that stuff. And we want to keep this as quiet as possible to see if we can locate where he might be. If he is somewhere where the society actually has reach. And if we can find him quietly, then we can actually make a move against him. Just so it's more of a observe report kind of thing is how I was envisioning it. I don't know if that's is that similar to what you were thinking it would be like, Gregory?
I mean, that's they would ask. They would ask. I don't know. Sorry, you're talking about the rest of the group. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's whatever you feel you can trust them with, honestly. And you have most of the information yourself already, so it's not like I don't trust your judgment on this. The idea, though, is to keep it on the down low as much as possible, if I recall.
So yeah, observe and report, I think, would be the best way.
Yeah, they say they can certainly do that. They emphasize that you emphasize that they should not intervene or spook this person. They already well, you worked with them before. They haven't really heard what's happened, and they heard what happened in the other aisle, but they haven't heard specifics. Eventually, they're events. But they say sure they can do that, and it's always good to do favors for the magistrates. Favor for a favor. That basically means that they'll call in back whatever it is that they get, they get from it.
Fine, I won't execute them when I find them. Jeez.
At least not all of them, anyway. So that's a good thing. So you set up. If you want to do anything before you depart, buying equipment here, etc. Although of course buying equipment at Triskelion would be better if you're looking for something very specific. In the book. Otherwise, say your goodbyes, etc. So I'll leave that open to you guys, and then when you're done, we go forward.
Okay. I'm not sure there's anything in particular we really need, is there?
Oh yeah, Spencer was going to be binding a shade.
Okay, make your rolls.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Let's say that in between the week or so you already selected the spot. You already have, all the materials. It's just a matter of doing the rolls and doing a little bit of role playing when the shade appears.
Yeah, let me look up the gifts so I know what to roll. I don't think I put it on my sheet. Let me check. No, I didn't put the rules on my sheet. So give me one moment.
Probably.
It's right there in the book. I know how to get to it, so I just have to do some button clicking here.
So Duncan,
while Spencer gets ready, I'm just gonna go probably say goodbye to my wife and my kid and all that stuff. And also, I guess, Sir Gregory, if you had that letter for my son for an apprenticeship, I can also hand that off too.
Yep, that's right.
And I'll just take care of that business while we wait to go.
Yeah, she's happy that you got her the letter, and as soon as probably within a couple of weeks, because it's now starting to be fall. Summer has been pretty hot. Less rain all summer. In fact, one of the things that's happened is that the first part of the year was very wet. Threats of having flooding again, but now the summer has been hot and dry, like almost a very radical change. Not, I would say, desert dry, but it's been significantly. Instead of the most you get is the occasional shower, sort of these fast moving showers, maybe in the morning, almost like mist. It's like it's there before it's gone. So the change in weather has been notable. A sigh of relief for the farmers, you heard, but again, having too much dryness as well.
It's still going to be a long winter is the problem.
Yeah, can be a problem. Your wife is a doctor, and so that's the thing. So are we ready to go with the shade?
Yes, I just got a 5 and a 5, and this is versus the shades, mind, will, and shade trait. I may throw my personality in on this because 5 is a hopelessly average roll.
Okay, he's just let's say he's an average shade. He has a 6.
All right, I'm going to throw my personality in on this. Bingo,
Okay.
I got him.
Yeah. So let's describe the scene for a moment. You're there in a corner of the training grounds at night, where most of the guard train. So this place, as you're summoning the shade, you can almost hear the cries of soldiers being mustered, of sergeants calling out, people staying in line, etc., shouting orders, that sort of thing. Almost like a DI, a drill instructor in the army, right? And it's sort of the cacophony of voices, low but sort of layered together. And from one of the shadows steps this figure and walks up to you. What kind of creature is it? What race are they?
I don't even know if they have a discernible race or if they'd be a mismatch of various personalities that had gone into the making of it.
Well,
What are the
usually a
majority of
shade-
soldiers?
Yeah, usually a shade is actually a very strong manifestation of a personality. It's like a ghost. It's something
yeah.
that lingers behind or is made up of if a bunch of people had a bunch of strong beliefs. So it wouldn't be an amalgam of different things. It would actually be the opposite. It would be one personality trait amped through the roof. This is once again why I mentioned that players don't find shades. Game hosts put shades in the world and players bind them. So if you're letting a player bind a shade, it's up to the game host to describe what kind that they found. Considering the state of the way the land is and the way the health of the land is the health of the people, the shades here would probably reflect the beliefs of people or strong, passionate martyrs of the past who once were and will be again. So they would be very much strongly provincial or nature inspired or that sort of thing. But they would be an exaggerated, like Alares or Pentarius, an exaggerated animist conceit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rafferty.
In front of you steps a very tall horse in full mail plate. Not in plate mail, but mail. The mail is a bit ragged. He seems exaggerated. Like even his, even you've seen Harmon, he is in his toughest physique. But this guy, has a whole triangle back, and his muscle seems to be ripping. But he also feels strong but old. Like he's someone who shouldn't be able to carry a spear in one hand and has a shield strapped to his back and has a sword in his belt. And it's like, what is it, soldier? Stand up straight.
Spencer will, of course, stand up straight with the tourmaline in hand.
I've never seen such a miserable bag of dicks in the king's army. And where's the rest of your platoon, soldier?
They will be around shortly.
That's
We
not
need
an
you to come
excuse.
inspect.
Get them up. We have to train right now. We have to be ready for battle all the time, sweating time in peace and fight and make the other bloke breathe in war. Do I make myself clear? And he jabs at you at your chest like, am I getting through to you?
Sir, yes, sir.
I didn't hear you.
Sir, yes, sir.
Of course, you can hear the shake, but no one else can in this moment hear the shake because you're still in the middle of the space. So you hear like one of the windows open and one of the soldiers in the barracks like, shut up! Trying to sleep. And just bang, you hear the door close back again. And I was like, and the shade doesn't recognize. He's just face like, very well. I wait the muster. Go get them. No, you don't seem to be good for a platoon leader, but I will turn you into a platoon leader. Do I make myself clear? Go.
This is probably when you start to just raise your obsidian charm, I imagine.
Yes.
And do you make a...
You'll have to come with me, sir. And then he presents his tourmaline charm to bind him.
What in the... sort of everything goes into your charm, and it's fun to... This is not appropriate! It's just, you have them.
You'll need to file the forms.
I'm just glad we have Arlie Emery on our side now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have your shade. Now let's give the shade a name. Let's make him particular. That's one
Harley
name,
Ermy.
shall we? Yeah, that's too American. I need something more old-timey, red coat British thinking.
Redcoat British.
Basic
Yeah.
training Barney.
Sergeant Major. He's gonna be a Sergeant Major. That's relatively a new rank, but what the hell?
Sergeant Major General.
Major Lee.
Oh gosh, we could have gotten the modern Major General at this rate.
Lee Remus Standard, because he has that kind of weird name. So now you're in service, Sergeant Major Lee Remus Standard of the King's
Would you
Guard.
be able to put that in chat so I can see how the last word is spelled?
Yes,
I may have Remus wrong too. I don't know.
that's fine. That's why I love autocorrect in Google. So it says in the player chat, and I'm going to put it on Roll20 chat so everybody can see it. And it's also in the Dramatis Personae, so that is so the player notes as well.
All right. And may I ask what the career he has would be?
Oh, he's a soldier. He's a soldier. He's a one-man army, or so he thinks.
Excellent.
And you almost hear when the sergeant major goes into your binding, you can almost hear a sigh of relief across the courtyard, like millions, thousands, millions of soldiers going from standing in attention with their legs locked and about to when I say faint because they're a blood flow not going to their heads enough, going to parade races like. They're not going to be doing push-ups ever again. Or so they think. So yes. Sergeant Major Lee Remus Standard. At your service, sir.
Excellent. So we will take him to quote-unquote meet the men.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're probably setting off the boat, getting ready to sail and all that.
Yeah.
And you finally are done with your business.
Yeah. Are you going to take your own ship or you're going to take a passenger?
Well, we were coordinating with the Lady Chamberlain, who at least said that they were going to work on the reasons for us being there and giving us covers and all that. And we have most of that covered. I imagine our own ship is probably going to end up being the answer. They're probably not going to give us like a brand new one.
No, I mean you either go as a passenger in the ship, but that problem with that will have to be in a convoy, and if the convoy is not ready to sail,
right?
Because one of the things that's being instituted is a convoy system for all ships, both to control the flow and be able to control the ships that are trying to smuggle supplies into the enemy shores,
and of course,
and to protect them from raiding.
Right, and of course, given what we're going to do, we may want to leave town real quick at some point. So
yeah,
we're probably taking our own boat.
The voyage is several weeks. You are tacking against the wind, but you do have oarsmen, so that whenever and you actually have to bring extra oarsmen for this, which is a long-range trip. And load up
I brought
supplies.
the big drum to beat for everyone to stroke to. Aren't you guys happy?
Well. There's so many jokes I could throw in there, but I'm not going there. I am not going there. And no, that is not YMCA playing in the background. I'm sorry. You did not hear that. Just saying that. So, yeah, I guess Harmon takes over the crew. Basically, he is the chief marine and says, whatever chance he has to do in order to get them motivated. Do you tell... sorry, what I'm telling. Does Spencer tell everyone else that he has a shade? Get into pokeball, or is that something he's keeping in his back pocket for now?
He's not going to brag about it.
Okay.
I can't understand why you wouldn't tell me that you've enslaved another sentient being and bound it to your will.
Now, it's not sentient. It just gives the impression of being exactly like us in personality and shape and mannerisms and desires and hopes and dreams and fears.
I'd just be
Are-
scared of it, so I'm glad you didn't show it.
Are we not but a sum of our memories in this short time on the earth?
Yes, we are.
Exactly.
Nope, I'm better than that. I'm a lion.
Yes, not a lot of ambiguity here.
But of course you are, sir. So finally, you sail into the harbor of Triskelion, and this is a wonderful city, and very different from the cities of the Isles. And that is, you see different ships on different makes. You see, all kinds of banners. As you go into port, it's very lively, right? The markets recently in the Isles have been very poor because everybody's basically on rations, so there's not a lot to sell. But here you find the smells, the sounds, even as you're going into harbor, of food and noise of people. You're right about mid morning. You find Anchorage. You're directed to go to the harbor master. The first thing so you can register your ship. You don't have the name. You have a different name for your ship, so you can pass up with someone else if you choose not to register it on your own.
Of course.
It says it'll be for the first month. It'll be basically a dinner at a month.
Mm-hmm. So I'll go ahead and mark that off. I still have like a good horde of it here.
Yeah. 30 dinners up front. He welcomes you. He's an old sailor, a rat. Basically, he has a missing eye, and he the kind of person that doesn't care. He doesn't have an eye patch. He doesn't have a glass eye. It's just an empty void in his left.
You don't want to do that and get infected.
He doesn't care.
Ugh.
Yeah, it costs more to cover it up than to just get rid of the next.
And he looks at you. The only thing he does is that because he has this now, he prefers to look you with a good eye, so it's almost turning to his side. So he's not like facing you forward when he does that. But it's less about being courteous and more like, I do not care. I have to look at you. You foreigners are all the same. I do not care.
Well, as long as you do the books right.
Yes, well, the money stays here. I have to pay the taxes like everyone else, so they're not. Or the guilds, or both, because this is the way it is. It's just a job. Cost me my one time. Here I am. If I can do anything for you, don't ask. I don't care.
I like this guy.
All right. It's going to be the first person we go to, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's other people, but this is the first person you had to extend the conversation with. He's a hardware master, and he's like, he doesn't, he's like, he's too busy. And you see behind him, there's pictures of the city and sea charts and the like, and he has like a sextant and all that. So he's clearly is an old sailor. There's windows that are supposed to oversee the harbor, but you have to really get close and sort of kind of go, okay, because it's shady because these windows haven't been cleaned in who knows how long, right? And how kinds of creatures have sort of.
We wouldn't have glass panes at this time. Windows would be that wooden lattice with maybe wax paper over them if you're lucky.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
unless, of course, you have someone with a very rich and expensive project like a church.
Yeah.
Even then, you can't make big glass panes. That's why stained glass windows are tiny little fitted glass.
Or very thin.
So we are in the city now. We'll probably do some quick finding accommodations, probably something nice, and I'll group everyone together and go, all right, so we need to form a plan, everybody.
Okay, my plan is everyone who is devout and, of course, worships a true faith can come with me.
Oh, well, okay. What's your plan exactly?
I'm off to the cathedral. I'm off to the church.
Well, we do need to get the tablets. You're just hoping to look around, I suppose.
Look around what? The city.
Gregory will just slowly put his face, his palm in his hand, and go, "We did appraise you of why we're here, right?"
Well, yes, but we should take care of other emissions first. I mean, you can't just like look around. You're not going to find what you're looking for just lying out in the open.
That is true. But I thought we should at least refresh ourselves. Lessons. We were talking with the Templars. They told us that we need to come here, do this, and we've agreed. What have they told us about what they know about the tablets and where they are and all that right now?
They have a few suspects, which they said that maybe you should approach. Suspect number one, numero uno, is a lady. She is, could be described as a merchant princess, but from a family that is trying to get back into the good graces of the nobility. She is Vache Wallon. She's a bovine, and she is known as someone who is the way she has elaborate parties. That's right there, and put in both. And she is also an avid collector of all kinds of rare items. So if anyone would know about a such tablets,
The tablets.
would be. But she is the way your debrief is that the Wallons were a former house minor that fell in the many interscene fighting between the houses major and minor during the years here in Calabria, and now they're trying desperately to go back. So they still have some money and they still have some some numbers to their name, but not enough to be officially declared to be royalty or for that matter nobility.
Wait,
So
you
the
mean
Wallons,
they were stricken of their blood? They're no longer have title?
they have the name, but they don't have title.
Unusual, but possible.
Yeah, basically the house, the Ironclaw basically subsumed them and conquered them, and so many of them basically changed their name and their affiliation to the Ironclaw.
Still apparently rich though, so they have that going for them.
Or they're trying to get back into it, right?
Yeah,
and they're constantly petitioning both the crown and anyone who would
remember us, we're important.
Yeah, to be let back into being nobility.
Yeah,
if not based on past glories, which is the way you usually do it, it's also because of their new money, newfound money. So some members of the Wallons have kept it, but the person that the primary contact with the Wallons, there's also a trader that does a lot of trading with the Isles, and let's see.
This is suspect number 2.
That would be suspect number 2, and that would be Louise de Nouveau, who is a fox, and he does quite a bit of trading. And he has a curio shop right at one of the entrances from the old new city to the old city, where the old city sort of merges into the new city. You're given a description of the city that basically there's 2 major areas. There's the old city, had the old walls when the first was built by the Rinaldis, and then of course, as many happens, the city spilled over the old walls, and the new areas are called the new city. Another description is that the old city tends to be of the area where the church and the nobility tend to rule, tend to have most control, especially the Rinaldis. And new city is what's called guild territory. Guilds here are very powerful, at least within the cities itself, and so they basically are a government within the government, right? And they have strong contacts with the mayor, who by law the mayor has to be non-aristocrat, which is a very interesting rule. The Isles usually you would hand that to an aristocrat, because why not, right? Or someone with connections, like someone, even if it's not an aristocrat, they usually would be either, well, it depends when you go. It could be elected by the people, or it could be imposed by the local lord. It goes from place to place. But you wouldn't necessarily have a law that said the mayor of a very important city cannot be an aristocrat. That would not be. That's what makes it peculiar.
Okay.
And they also have control of the what's called the lower courts and the constabulary, which is the city guard and police. Very similar to what the King's Chosen do, at least in the capital, with their own magistrates and stuff like that.
Oh, goody. So, all right. So we have a couple of points, and you were going to go to the church first, Vesper.
Yes.
I'd be interested in maybe accompanying you. It'd be good to see the sights and take a pilgrimage, and but we do have our other sources.
Well, you can't come dressed like that.
Oh, like this?
Yeah, look at you. You're all girded up for war.
Well, I mean, I'm not. I'm in the city. I'm not brandishing my armor right now. That'd be.
Yeah, but you're carrying those weapons.
Oh, I mean, Harmon's carrying the weapon. Well, I
didn't
guess
ask
that is a
Harmon.
weapon.
First of all, I wasn't asking if he was going with the church, and secondly, he'd say no. Hey, Harmon, want to go to the church?
No.
Right. Well, but
See,
if
I'm
I
not
go,
gonna
he's
auto
coming
throw
with.
if I'm
So,
infallible.
perhaps I'll hold off on that for a minute, and I'll focus on business then. So you can go to the church. You'll try to make connections there.
You don't just gain audience with the Holy See. This rules.
Oh, it's not just a visit for pleasure. I understand now. Everything is making sense. Okay. In which case,
What are you implying?
I'm implying that maybe you might have fun every now and then, Vesper. That maybe you might just enjoy going to see this cathedral or make your pilgrimage. Like, no, it's just church business.
It's called agape.
Okay. Well, I'll try to remember that term. I make no promises.
Yes,
so that leaves
future king.
So that leaves our other two sources. I could perhaps talk to Vashwalon. I believe she's probably would be the easiest for me to talk to. And Duncan, maybe you could go and speak to Luis?
Sure. I don't know anything about antiques, though.
Well, neither do I, honestly. I suppose Spencer's technically our expert here.
I mean, do you know anything about like merchants and the sort of and trading of seized imperialist goods?
I know how to present
I know
myself
how to
in
make the goods. Does that count?
Well, trafficking in seized, stolen. I mean, look, this is the age of piracy, so it's very popular to go to someplace else, seize a bunch of their stuff, and then try to sell it somewhere else. It's popular with noble classes because they can brag about it, but it's also popular with the commoners and the criminal underclass because it's low traceability, high reward.
You gave me an idea. I do have rings I can give them. Thank you.
So anybody who's an expert at circulating with the merchants and the pirates, no offense to Spencer here, would be able to traffic in oh, sorry, not Spencer, the Panther, my bad. Duncan here.
No one remembers
Spencer,
my name.
Spencer, I apologize. Who can? You're all pagans. Spencer, I think, would actually be well served to try and find a institution devoted to the study of the supernatural.
Right.
Because if this is Triskelion, then the premier guild of that is the Dunwasser Academy, which is sanctioned by.
Just agreeing.
Yeah. So I'm not sure who's in charge here.
Well, that sounds like we all have a bunch of different places to all go to. I think we'll go ahead, we'll fish around and see what we come up, and, we have a pleasant room to come back to and plenty of time.
Right, and considering this is a Renaissance-inspired fantasy, it's not that hard for you to throw a few pennies at a page and have them come get me from the church. So that's where I'll go first. Also, I want to make some inquiries there because if something arrived, especially a strange manuscript, because the church is a higher place of learning as opposed to someone might have tried to translate what this was or have it identified. There might be evidence of it at the church.
Right.
There might be. Yeah. Well, we also remember
go ahead.
I remember that the church was looking for these tablets, and they briefly had them, but the paladin told you that they got stolen.
Okay,
Maybe
well,
they started to try to translate them, but somebody absconded with them.
Well, I'll
So you
make some
might have the
inquiries.
initial translations there then.
Well, that's one thing to look at, so that will help us. But also, I'll do some inquiries into where they were stored. Like after they were stolen, I'm sure there was an inquest to figure out why, since technically the church's job is to stomp out necromancy. So there might have been an inquest, and I can get some local suspects, which might jive with some of the information that you find.
Of course. And while you're there, you can buy me a few indulgences. I have some sinning I need to get to as long as I'm here.
What do you think I am, an orcamine?
You use these words, but here, just go ahead and take a little bit of the purse and bring me back one or two.
I'm going to go say 64 prayers for your soul.
Perfect. Now I can
Only
sin
64?
without worry.
Or maybe you can have Gregory finance an entire monastery so they can spend the rest of their days praying for his soul to make sure that not only when he gets to heaven of light he will have a good reception, but actually you have like a mini silver throne. I have a golden throne, but that's for the big, but silver throne for him. Yeah.
And soon you'll be a saint, and your bones will be placed there after you're dead.
Wonderful.
Saint Gregory Varkin III.
That's how that works.
No, it's not.
He's fit to be a corpse.
Welcome to Middle
One day.
So let's start with our dear brother here. You walk. There's many. There's the city has different parishes, which has smaller churches in them. So it's a big city. So not everybody can go to the cathedral. Welcome in the cathedral. And so,
I've been looking for the seat. I mean, if it's a large city, it should have a sitting bishop or metropolitan.
Oh yeah, it has. I mean, you have to go to the Cattedrale de Temoy.
I'll go straight to the cathedral, the largest building in possibly all of creation.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we have most of the records, etc. I mean,
yeah, I'm going there, guys.
Yeah. And in fact, as you get closer, the robes of people and the clothing starts changing. It's almost like if anybody has driven, well, I don't want to go too much into that, but if you ever driven to Chicago and looked around in the highway, but in this case, it's clothing.
Yeah, the cathedral's laid out near the market plaza, so there's a big open stretch of open, like nothing, where people just set up things, and then the cathedral's right above it. So
it's a mixture of markets, people coming in and out. But as you get closer to that side, it's like in school where people sort of segregate themselves, and even there's everyone's supposed to be in the schoolyard. So closer to the church, you have more, churchly people. And unlike the cathedral that's been built in the Isles, there's a suspiciously absence of beggars and people asking for food or anything like that.
That's weird. This is the most popular place to beg.
Apparently, there may be a reason for it, but right now they're not. They might be in the other corners of but not in the immediate area.
Well, one thing I will notice is there's stairs. Lots and lots of stairs.
And there are many people from different ranks of the clergy coming up and down. Some of them are holding documents. Some of them are talking to each other. You see a knot of people around in the corner where there may be an elder brother sort of explaining to younger ones about the specifics of, you see, the canticle really talks about giving charity in the Marcia, but not in the other days, because you must make sure you maximize it. But brother, you must give all the time. And they're having a discussion about which days are feasting days and what should we do and all that. And so, you heard this many times before. There's many schools of philosophy of when to give. Maybe should you give every day? Should you do it on holidays, etc., etc. But the people that should be given to money or resources apparently are kind of missing around here. Yeah, which is weird. And the massive doors, which are bronze doors, are opened for people to enter. So
I feel like I'm home.
Yes.
It's gonna be hard for me to leave.
And like a typical cathedral, this is less St. Petersburg and more Notre Dame, really.
Yeah,
more classic Gothic cathedral
with a little more Arabic influence than they like to admit.
because of the Rinaldi, right?
Yeah, a lot of the architecture in the Ironclaw books is inspired by Cordoban, which is a mix of European and Arabic. So there's a lot of domes and arches. So first you had the Romans build the arches, and then the Muslims come in and said, "What if dome? What if arch, but more?"
In
360
fact,
arch, yay!
In fact, this cathedral is so old because Straskillian is one of the oldest cities, actually built in an older city. That this cathedral, you can tell that the outer edges are classic late Gothic medieval, right? But as you get more into it, they have more of what would be in the modern and other ways will be Eastern Orthodox. So it seems that the cathedrals are not so much built completely, but rather it's something that has evolved and has been built upon.
Yeah, it took centuries to build all of that.
So as you go in, literally, it has the sort of the cross and the dome overhead, which can be both a big influence.
Yeah,
I mean, Roman influence, Greco-Roman influence as well.
And I'm going to be here for a couple hours because since I'm here, I need to make the pilgrimage to the inner sanctum, the Sanctum Sanctorum, the spot where Heloise sacrificed herself to save the entire city from the plague, the founding event of my entire religion.
And as you go in the middle, there is basically a giant series of circles which mark the spot. And they go from...
I'm not walking labyrinth. No, it's a tiny little room, and you have to wait online for it.
So there's that. But there's... in the center, there is a sort of series of circles, and bronze, silver, and gold that sort of mark the confluence of all the spaces. So to get the feeling that people, when they stand there, in fact, there's small windows that light comes in from different areas. The idea is that, for example, a priest or say His Holiness would stand there. He would be illuminated by the light in a very precise spot, and literally be metamorphically be at the navel of the world, center of the world, as he speaks to the congregation. Right? Very theatrical, but also very important because people must understand these things, and we must expand the message in every way possible. Before people had to speak.
I mean, this would be one of the places where the mass is held magniloquentia, because this entire idea that we should translate things into the vulgar is still somewhat controversial.
Yes.
People really don't need to understand what we're saying.
Yeah. And so, and in the corner, you see, the people making confessions, and other places you see little old ladies, with their rosaries making, praying. I mean, it's a tourist spot. It's a place where people do business. That's why it's so busy, right? And you go into this little box, and there's a very long line because, of course, people want to, have a touch with the spiritual, the true sense of what makes the church a church of Salomere. So as you're standing online, there's people coming back and forth. You see someone from your younger days when you were in training. He's not so young anymore.
Ooh,
he was a fellow student of yours, another raccoon, and he's carrying a bundle of sheep.
Okay, I'll have to pretend to not be seen because I'm sure whoever he was obnoxious and insufferable.
Let's see if he sees you.
Benedicte! Does he recognize me? Oh.
He stands, looks at you, gets bumped by somebody, and the paper sort of spilled over. It's like, and he starts, cussing, which he shouldn't be doing. But he cusses, and he sort of remembers that he's in the holy place. Like,
Snavellifano.
Oh, what can I do for you? And he goes like, and you see he's squinting. He should be wearing glasses. He actually has the mark on his fur where he should be wearing glasses, but apparently he's not wearing them today. Like, can I help you?
I'm here to help others. It's been a long time. I've been away from the hallmarks of civilization for so long. I've been abroad in the Isles for months.
Oh, carry on the holy word of the light to the pagans.
they're so desperate there. They cling to shadows and darkness, and when their backward beliefs fail them, they only become more steeped in superstition. It's terrible.
Well, we must talk, brother, because I am. And sort of someone else, like a younger, it's like he should have here. The guy, boom, he just offloaded. It's like, yes, and he sort of fishes first.
Well, you could help me out. You could help me. I am here on an errand directly from the Pontiff to search into some missing artifacts.
Really?
I plan after I make my proper devotions here to the Sanctum Sanctorum. I will be heading to the scriptorium and then the library to look into this. If you could assist me, it would be for the greater good of everyone.
Of course. I would ask you if you had some time to tell me of your devotions and practices over there. We heard some rumors about an older church, which is still prays to the light, but some houses making some accommodations with the locals. You know, we don't want to.
You know what? That sounds excellent.
Mistake. Yes.
We're very busy people. Perhaps we should do this over. Oh, I don't know. Dinner? Perhaps you could recommend someplace?
I know the place. Oh, you would love it.
I graciously accept your invitation.
Great wine and some great cheese and some lovely. Well, we'll see it. Don't worry about it. You can look as long as you don't touch it. It's not a sin. You just have to admire the scenery. It's beautiful. But don't worry. Of course, you have to do it. Somebody said in the back of the line goes like, "Next, please."
Yeah.
Sorry. Devotions. I will love. Yes.
Come. I will come find you in the library.
My given name, brother, is Brother Jeffries.
It's good to see
my
you.
father. My father thought it would be funny to.
Go ahead.
My father thought it would be funny to give me a foreign name, so I could. It wasn't good in school, but it happens.
A name is not important as the soul that you carry with you.
Of course. Service to the light, of course. The science.
No. Later, let us meet in the library and make our inquiries right away.
Will do. I will keep an eye out. And he sort of grabs, even without looking, he just grabs and pinches an ear of someone, like there's a fox, and he sort of, it's like and he looks at you, and his whiskers sort of like the little fox is like, I will go. Yes. Now, where are my papers? And he just sort of, so he just, scampers off to find his papers, right? So you're in line. So next person, let's go to Duncan. Duncan, are you alone or you're with somebody else going to the shop of curios?
That is a valid question. I guess it really is going to depend. I guess our Spencer was going to Dunwasser,
to the university,
right?
So you're kind of alone right now.
So I am alone, yes. So
the curious shop, you ask around, and people kind of look at you because you do speak Calambrian, but of course your accent is foreign, so it's like people kind of look at you askance. But some are helpful, some are like to deal with this, foreigners.
Do you know the way?
Well, yes. There's an old man who's like, yes, expat from the Isles myself. The curio shop from this person. Yes, you just have to find it. It's in the back street, second near to the wall. It's and he sort of drags you a little bit and points in a different direction. Like you have to take a left and right, and because this city is massive and has been built. So
yes,
if you don't know.
Observation to see if he's trying to pickpocket me.
Try. You can roll.
I mean, the keyword on try. Because like anybody that's like grabbing me in the middle of the street, I know how this game works a little bit. Like I'm paranoid enough to probably do that. I got 2 successes to see if he's like trying to do a fast one on me.
He's not, and he apparently is. But you do see like almost like a bat in a belfry kind of situation where there's a bat sort of sitting in a balcony, sort of like kind of looking your direction. Like when you're looking back, he's like, and he's a young bat, like he's probably like 11 or 12. You know
Okay.
that this person is one of these lookouts for these gangs that kids who sort of like to mob people, especially strangers. So you pick that up right away. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
might be a foreign city, but you know how these things work, right? So someone has an eye on you.
Yeah. I mean, these are the same tactics that I would probably have used
Exactly, yeah.
previously as well.
So apparently, this
Um,
has happened just in an expat who actually, because you got some of the more nasty reactions from people here. It's like, oh, I'll deal with foreigners. At least the people are not merchants. He wants to help out, right? It's like, oh, sir, if you need, we got some cups down at the port. Probably, I've heard so many rumors of what's happening back home. Some very nasty things. I hope they're not as nasty as they sound. But of course, everybody exaggerates here. Something about mass
Well,
murders and genocide and whatnot.
Of course. It did start raining again, at least.
Oh, good. I've heard that. Wasn't it already raining? But there was a drought.
It's raining
There
too
was
much.
Oh, yes, it was raining too much because there was a drought before. But
yeah,
that drought's done. Huh? And there's supposed to be a new king now, correct?
yeah, there is, from what I heard as well.
But not everybody is with the. We'll catch up. Later, sure, will find me. I mean, we foreigners, puta madre tu, we stand out.
Yeah. It's all right. Is there a area where like a lot of the is there like a place where a lot of those of the folks of the Isles actually congregate in this city?
Usually in the expat bars down by the docks. I guess we all want to smell the sea and be able to just jump on a ship and go back, or at least we dream that we will. But it doesn't happen as often as most people think they will, especially with all the nasty rumors. Apparently, they're true. So yeah, I'll present you with all my friends. And they'll love to see you and have some nice conversation, get some actual, real news for a change, as opposed to rumor mongering.
I smile and I say, I'm sure they would love to see me.
And he says, "Be careful with the little brats. They like gun with silver. I would tuck that in, and he says, and he shows you, and he has like a sewn up pocket inside his jacket. It's like, yeah, they can have to rip it off, keep my jacket closed, and he sort of buttons it up. It'll be tough.
Actually pretty clever. I might have to look for a tailor to do something like that for my own attire.
Well, you should keep some silvers in there just in case. You didn't want to go hungry because somebody decides to make a mark out of you.
It's definitely true. Thank you so much for the advice.
Ben, as I say here, bene. Good day. And he's off.
Oh, what a good day.
So, Gregory, while Duncan reboots.
Yep. Goal, I believe, was to go to Vashwalan.
Yes. She has a, not quite a mansion, but a well-to-do house in the sort of against the inner wall of the old city, but facing to the rich side, right, instead of new. So she's in the city. Here they have a little more patrols, etc., of the constabulary, especially in the border. It's sort of, again, not no real border. I mean, there's a wall, but and there's gates to it, but mostly the flow of people is so extensive that you can't really stop everybody. But it's like when you walk in a series of neighborhoods and you walk from the part of the town which it's the bad neighborhood versus a not so bad neighborhood, and you always kind of feel like, wait a minute, it's a bit cleaner. You see more cops around, that kind of thing, right? Even if it's literally one house is in one spot with the others, right? So you get that feeling. And so, yeah, there's this house, and there's a little bell, and it says import expert and whatnot. The Wallon family, and it says it on Calabrese, right? Familia Wallon. So you sort of ring the bell. Actually, you have to sort of pull it.
Okay.
It's a cowbell,
but it serves. It's like, oh, this is actually quite fun. Is this what people do all the time?
Clong, 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 clong.
Gee, I sure hope this isn't annoying to someone inside.
You hear in Calabrese saying, Well, and somebody opens like a door. Is like, what can I do you for?
Hello there. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Gregory Verkin III, and it's a pleasure to meet you. I was hoping that a one lady Vashla Wallone was at home.
Oh, Lady Vachevalon. Yes. Um, Madame Wallon is not at home at this moment, but if you, I will take a message. And you see, he actually switches when you say Wallon. He goes from his deep, local accent to a more deeper into Calabrian type accent. Still Calabrese, but it's a different accent.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Of course, of course. If you could just tell her that I'm interested in hearing out of things about her collection and perhaps several and have many questions of my own I wish to ask her. Perhaps we could meet together, perhaps over dinner tonight, if she happens to have the time. She is invited.
well, if you want to talk about Madame Wallon collection, she usually holds a salon every what's the name? Dimanche, which will be tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But that is to selective guests. So I would say perhaps you should try to. If you have some letters of introduction, I could give them to them, and maybe she
Oh,
consider extending an invitation as well as
oh,
where we could live.
right. Well, of course I do. I'm well-to-do and true of breed. I'm sure she would make quite the exception to invite me. I say as I pull like the letter of introduction and maybe like some extra dinars on top of it.
He does, and he sort of reads it, and it's like he sort of makes a face because clearly, again, it's somebody written by somebody who knows Calabrese but does not, have the peculiars of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he sort of wrinkles his nose. I will warn you that Madame Wallon is not accepting, shall we say, companionship at this moment. We are not. She is not. She's very happily single at the time. So, if seeking to form a courtship, she would not. She would not
Oh,
be receptive to it.
of course not. I would not wish to intrude where she does not want.
Very
But
well.
such is not my goal. My intentions are true here.